So the first story I'm gonna be sharing with you guys, this is I think one of like the most prominent ones that like stuck in my head since I was little. So ever since I was little, just a little backstory, I've always seen ghosts, felt ghosts, heard ghosts, anything like that. Even now here in this house where I live, I have tons of stories from this house, from my mother-in-law house, just from like everywhere. But like I said, this story I think was like one of the first ones that just kind of like, what the heck, you know? So when I was in fourth grade, we lived in this house. It had 4 bedrooms. So when you walked in, it was like the living room, and then it was like the kitchen, and you went through this like little hall, and then it was like a really long hallway, right? So in this long hallway, it was the 3 bedrooms on one side. It was the left side. It was my brother's room, my sister's room, my room, and then across from my room, at the end of the hall, was my parents' room, and then across from my sister's room, which was the middle room, was the bathroom. So my brother slept in the first room because it was like the smallest room, so he would sleep there. And my sister room had all of her stuff in there, but she would sleep with me, because she was like, I think she was like in first grade, so she was like 6 years old. So she would get scared and she would go and she would sleep with me. So I remember in during Christmas time, my parents, I think it was my parents, they gifted us those like play like old school phones, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So they gifted us those, right? And so in my bed I had this like back the bed the backboard I think it's called, or the bedboard, and it had little like cubbies so I can put like stuff on there. So my phone was on top of like where I slept, and then my sister's phone, she had it on top of like where she slept on her side. And so at night, we were like scared. So I always felt like there was something there. And you know, when you're little, you just like, you like cover your head and your body, and you can just feel like something is there, but you're just like, hell no, the demon is not gonna get me as long as my head is like covered. So that's what we would do. And I can hear like somebody playing with the freaking phone, right? And it would like go off. It had like different buttons and you know, like all kinds of stuff. And I was like, yeah, no. So I would like get scared, right? And I would scream for my mom and dad. I was like, Mama, like, Mama. My dad would come in like, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? I was like, the phone, the phone. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's just going off. So he took the batteries out, right? He got like fed up with it. He took the batteries out one day, and he's like, okay, it's not gonna go off anymore. So whatever, I still kept it there because, you know, the battery was out, you know, so it's not gonna make any more noise. Well, guess what? The next day, or like a couple days later, the phone would ring and make all the little noises like, you know, like hello or whatever. And I would scream for my dad again, and he was like, what the hell, right? So he was like fed up, so he grabbed my phone and he grabbed my sister's phone and he went to the garage and he freaking threw the phones into the garage, right? And he's like, they're not gonna bother you anymore, blah blah blah, whatever. And he closed the door, and when he closed the door, he can literally still hear the freaking phones ringing, and they like broke. Like when he threw them, like obviously they like broke. They like kind of like, you know, and they were little still ringing. And I think like that next day he like threw them away. So like stuff happened in that house. That was like the only encounter or whatever that I had in that house. But from like my parents, they said that there was like a little like boy spirit there in the bathroom. So when we finally moved out of that house, we moved like maybe like 10 minutes away. It was like up the street, right? When they were leaving, because at the end, one of my cousins ended up moving in with us. And so him and my dad went to just get the rest of the stuff, anything that was like left over, whatever, from moving. Um, you know, they were gonna, you know, they were leaving, whatever. They were like, okay, bye, whatever. And so when they were leaving, so they were parked right outside, and we had like this big window where you can see, you know, to the front porch and like the front yard or whatever. They seen that there was a little boy, like, cause my mom left the curtains there, and so you can see like the little boy just pulling the curtain and waving bye to them, and I was like, oh, what the hell? I've never heard any like little boy or anything, but like I said, they heard little boy, like he would like cry, or like they would just hear things, but they knew it was like a little boy, so that's kind of creepy. Like I said, I've never seen a little boy, but maybe that little boy was the one that was playing with my phone. So yeah. But I had one more actually thing that happened in that house now that I just remembered. I think that I what is that called? Astro projected. I only say that I never thought of it, but I think that I did. Now watching Insidious, if you never watched Insidious, they're really good movies. But that's how it looked, exactly like that. But I didn't know that, like, it didn't click until like a couple years ago, right? So again, I was like in 4th grade, and I was like about 8 or 9 years old. I think I was like 9. And so one night I remember I woke up because I was thirsty. Again, I had to go to that long hallway to get to the kitchen, right? Or to the living room. So I just remember I was walking and I was barefoot and it was so dark. Now, at 9 years old, I would have to wake up my sister to go to the bathroom with me, and she would wake me up. I'd be like, let's go to the bathroom, because we were scared. So we would turn on my light, we would turn on the hallway light and the bathroom light because we were scared, you know? And when I went to go get water, I did not wake up my sister, and I just went, and it was completely dark, like pitch black dark, and it was just so weird to me that I didn't turn on any of the lights. Don't mind my daughter, she's over here. And then so I grabbed water, and I thought it was a drink. I grabbed my water, you know, and I was walking back, and I felt like I was walking extremely slow, right? And I was like barefoot. I remember I was barefoot and I was like walking, so my feet kind of made like a little noise, you know, like when you walk barefoot. And we had wood flooring, but behind me there was somebody behind me, and I did not want to turn around, but it sounded bigger than me. I don't know if it was, but I can clearly, every time I took a step, they took a step, but it sounded like, and I remember stopping in the middle of the hallway because I thought that it was my feet, and I knew that it wasn't, and I was still holding my my water, and I was like, what the heck? And I just kept walking and walking and walking. I don't even remember going in my room. I just remember waking up the next day, and I just thought it was a dream, right? I woke up, I thought it was a dream, and I was like, that was a weird dream. And then I turned, and my nightstand was right there, and I seen the cup of water, and I was like, oh, it was not a dream. And I was like, well, that's awkward. Like, that was weird. That was a scary interaction, you know. But I didn't know at that time what astral projection is, and I don't even know if that's what that was, because I've never done that before. I don't even know if I did do that, how I did it, but it looked, like I said, super pitch black, exactly like how in Insidious is. Like, that's how it looked. It was like black and gray. It was crazy. So that's one of my other stories. So yeah.